And today we're talking about how you can become a thoughtful leader in your industry on LinkedIn. So, more on that in a minute. How was your weekend? We are now smack dab in the middle of the back to school season. One of my kiddos is in public school and the other is homeschooled. So, you may see one of them popping in from time to time, and that's all good. With all the changes that happened for me over the summer, I'm really excited to be back in a normal groove. I love schedules, I love rhythm, I love routine. So boring is good. Now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show. We meet every week at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time, where I talk about all things LinkedIn pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I like to call the three P's of LinkedIn. So, do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post whether you're watching live or from the replay. You can leave your questions below, even if they're not related to the topic we're talking about today. Feel free to just put them below because I use those for future episodes of Mondays with Mindy. And that's kind of how I like to plan my content calendar. So, please don't be shy. If you have a question, leave it below. So, let's get to today's topic. Whether you realize it or not, you are an expert at what you do. So, how do you showcase that expertise on LinkedIn without looking like you're just trying to rack up reactions and comments? We all know those people. It's a little bit irritating, sometimes annoying. So, once upon a time, a few years ago, I met a beautiful human who felt stuck and at a crossroads in her career. Her husband actually came across one of my live streams in his feed and he shared that one video with her. And for some reason, it must have resonated. I'm happy it did. This actually led to her joining my program, the LinkedIn Accelerator, where she showed up every single session. I would say she was the most active participant. She never missed. She always came prepared with questions. She implemented what we discussed. She continued to take action to grow her network. It was not an easy process. It was challenging. She had the struggles all of us do when we are positioning ourselves or learning a new platform. And at the time when she started, she had less than 100 connections. Okay, 100. All right, not 500, 100. She had just created her LinkedIn profile. She felt daunted by the task ahead. She was still trying to figure out her positioning and who she wanted to be when she grew up. And that was one of her biggest challenges. She had a very interesting career, had done a lot of things, but it was really tricky just to figure out, okay, well, how do I actually make all of that come across on LinkedIn? So let's skip forward to today. She now has more than 5,000 active followers with excellent engagement on her posts. She is a renowned expert in empathy, and you have likely come across one of her podcast episodes, interviews, videos, and content, especially if you're active on LinkedIn or you listen to podcasts with people who like to interview leadership experts. And just last month, she was speaking at Cambridge University on stage and looked like a completely different person from the woman who felt nervous about taking up too much time with her questions in my program. She is empowered. She is standing in her truth. She is leading others towards empathy. And that's what I call thought leadership. That's what I call a thoughtful leader. It's not just about collecting followers. Rather, it's about communicating what you know, leaning into your strengths and connecting with others. That's exactly what she did. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's Dr. Melissa Robinson-Winemiller. So look her up on LinkedIn. She is a shining example of what it means to be a thoughtful leader on LinkedIn. And if you are not following her work, check out her profile. She shares some really, really good stories. She also is on a lot of podcast episodes. You can hear all about her work. She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And this could be you. It doesn't take someone with a highfalutin career or 10,000 plus followers on LinkedIn to become a thoughtful leader. It starts with believing in yourself, discovering your message, and sharing your wisdom with others. That's really what it's all about on LinkedIn. It's not necessarily about, who's the most popular. This is not high school. We are not trying to become, the class president or homecoming king and queen here. It's really about sharing your knowledge with others and helping others. We want to all elevate each other on LinkedIn. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, You're like, Mindi, who are you? My name is Mindi Ramsey, and I have an online program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and network. So the last cohort ran in 2023, and I am revamping it for the next program that will have tons of updates from 2024. And I help leaders who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go-to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact. In this live, we're talking about the difference between being a thought leader and a thoughtful leader. And yes, you can be both. And why so many people seem to chase the title of thought leader, but forget the importance of being a thoughtful leader. So, are you ready to get started? We are going to dive in. So, go ahead and like this post, whether you're live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. So again, too many people are chasing the idea of becoming a thought leader on LinkedIn. If you actually Google, last time I Googled, which was very recently, how to become a thought leader on LinkedIn, you will get more than 59 million search results. If you then try to Google how to become a thoughtful leader, you will get many of the same results showing up. Almost as if Google is confused and thinks that you really mean thought leader, right? Interesting. I know. I thought I was going to get many, many fewer results when I did that Google search, and I was surprised. And then I actually started going through, the pages of results, and a lot of them were exactly the same. I'm like, come on, Google, come on. Thoughtful is very different than thought leader. So there's a disconnect, obviously, between what Google's algorithm thinks and probably what many of us think too when we are thinking about thought and thoughtful. So 3 small letters make a huge difference. So we're talking about the difference between being a thought leader and a thoughtful leader, and why so many people seem to chase the title of thought leader, but forget the importance of being a thoughtful leader. So let's break it down. Okay, a thought leader, it's a term we hear all of the time, right? These are the people who are recognized as experts in their field. A lot of people will use the term thought leader on purpose, just to signify that they are an expert. So they're the ones that we consider who are driving conversations, sharing innovative ideas, often leading the charge when it comes to trends in their industry. They're the go-to resources and sources for the latest insights, and their opinions hold weight. So you see them at conferences and articles, and yes, all over LinkedIn, sharing their expertise. And it sounds pretty cool, right? But here's the thing. While it is great to be known as a thought leader, there's another kind of leader that I think we should talk about more: a thoughtful leader. Now, what do I mean by that? A thoughtful leader is someone who leads with empathy, consideration, and a really deep understanding of the people around them. So they're not just focused on being the loudest voice in the room or sharing the most groundbreaking ideas. Instead, they actually prioritize the well-being of their team, the well-being of their communities, their organizations, and those they know who they can influence. So thoughtful leaders are the ones who listen. They reflect, they make decisions that truly consider the impact on others. They're not just building themselves up, they actually are intentional in their actions. They're mindful of the ripple effects of their leadership. So it's a different leadership style. It's not just about being popular, it's about how they go about creating influence and how they go about exercising and influencing others. It's not always flashy, but it is incredibly powerful. Now, I'm curious, how many of you have worked with or encountered a thoughtful leader? So what was that experience like? Now, share your thoughts in the chat. I don't answer them and chat with you during the live stream, but I will jump into the comments afterwards. So I want to hear, have you encountered a thoughtful leader? How did you feel about that experience? How did they make you feel? I'm sure there was a way and an emotion, feeling that you had when you were in their presence, when you were reading things from them, when you were experiencing them, when you felt their leadership. So share, because that's how we learn. When we share ideas, when we talk about, wow, this really impacted me, this is why. When we actually take the time to write that down, it opens up the conversation and we can learn from each other. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. On LinkedIn, we see so many people striving to be the thought leaders, right? They're sharing content, posting insights, they're trying to make a name for themselves. It's usually really obvious that that's what they're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But in their rush to stand out, we sometimes forget the value of being thoughtful, okay? I see it all the time. These are the people who are posting just to post. Somebody told them you should post every day, so they post every day. They're pushing out content that's more about grabbing attention than actually providing real value. They know what the algorithm is doing and they play to the algorithm, or maybe they don't know and they just post to post because they hope it will work. But imagine if we all put as much effort into being thoughtful leaders as we do into being thought leaders. So, what if we focus not just on what we're sharing, how often we're sharing it, whether we're using all the right hashtags, or do hashtags even matter on LinkedIn? How many times do I need to post? What keywords should I use? Am I posting at the optimal time of day? It's a lot. So instead of focusing on all of that, what if we focused on how and why we're sharing what we're sharing? What if we led with empathy and truly considered the impact of our words and actions on those who came across our words, especially on LinkedIn, our actions in real life with the people we work with? So, really thinking about LinkedIn from this perspective, it shifts, right? You're like, oh, wait, it's not about posting frequency, hacking the algorithm, just what I can do to get by, what I can do to get noticed. This is actually about the people who are reading your content. That's what it's about. Okay. I believe that LinkedIn and the professional world in general could benefit from more thoughtful leaders. Okay, we'll all raise our hand and agree to that. I think all of us realize that is valuable. Leaders who prioritize integrity and compassion and the well-being of others alongside their expertise, right? That's what we're looking for. We still want that expertise. I still want you to be a thought leader and to come up with ideas and share ideas, but how you're sharing those ideas. That's really what makes the difference. Because at the end of the day, we've all heard this, people may remember what you said, but they'll definitely remember how you feel. Okay, I think I said that wrong. People may not always remember what you said, but they'll definitely remember how you made them feel. Okay, something like that. So as you build your presence on LinkedIn or anywhere else, just ask yourself, am I just trying to be a thought leader? Or am I striving to be a thoughtful leader as well? You can do both, but I think shooting for thoughtful is really going to provide that impact that you're looking for. So trust me, the impact you will have as a thoughtful leader, it'll last. It'll last far longer and it'll go much deeper. You're touching people at a deeper level. You're not just like, oh, yeah, they're always sharing things. Great. Click. Yeah, it's actually interesting. It piqued my interest. But is it changing lives? Is it shifting people's perspectives? Is it making them feel a certain way? Because when you can actually help people tap into those emotions and actually, create that sense of feeling and emotional impact, your words are going to stick more than just like, oh, yeah, that's a great post. I should do that. All right, so let's talk about some practical ways we can all become more thoughtful leaders on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to share 3 simple yet powerful strategies you can start using right now. Are these earth shattering? No, but they're good reminders and help us tap into, oh, what do we actually need to be thinking about? All right, so number 1, listen before you post. Most of us have heard the advice, you got to post on LinkedIn, post, 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 post. It's like drilled into our heads. You have to post content, create content. So pause before you start going out there and posting. And a lot of times when I'm working with somebody who is coming to LinkedIn either for the first time or they've had a break or they have really thought through their strategy and are changing things up, I caution them against posting right away, especially if they haven't spent any time in their newsfeed. I recommend that you spend more time in your newsfeed listening. If you don't have much good content in your newsfeed already, then you're going to want to search up some terms on LinkedIn related to your industry and do some listening. So first, focus on listening before you start talking, okay? I remember as a kid, they used to say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and there's a reason for that. So listen, listen, listen. So before you hit that post button, take a moment to really listen to your audience, okay? Not just what everyone else is saying on LinkedIn. Really think about where your people are on LinkedIn. Who is your audience? Think about what they're reading. think about what they're posting and search up those keywords, search up those terms on LinkedIn. You can just do this in the LinkedIn search and you will see some posts come through. Make sure you filter it by post and you'll see what people are talking about. Even if you just spent 5 minutes doing that, you will learn a lot. You will learn what people are talking about, how they're talking about it. You'll see some popular content showing up. So, what challenges are they facing? What are they actually curious about? By tuning into these conversations already happening around you, you can share content that's not just relevant, because a lot of us can be relevant, but it's also deeply resonant. There's a difference between, oh, yeah, that's relevant, to, oh, wow, that really resonates with me on a deeper level, or you truly understand your stuff and you understand those ripple effects of what you're talking about. Because again, remember, we're talking about not just thought leaders sharing insights, but being thoughtful in how those insights can actually translate and how those ripple effects happen. Okay. So it's about contributing to the dialogue in a way that adds value rather than just adding to the noise. Don't post just to post. And you'll notice too, I do not post very frequently. I do a weekly live stream and you may see some shorts that come from my live stream, some short videos or posts, things that have changed on LinkedIn. But other than that, I don't post. I don't like to post just to post because I feel like if I don't really have anything meaningful to say, let other people talk. Let other people have the stage. So really think about that. Think about your audience. You don't want to inundate them with too much content either. Even if it's good stuff, really think about, okay, listening. How often are they checking their LinkedIn news feed based on the amount of content that's out there? Are you just adding to the noise? Okay, so there's a lot of factors that come into the umbrella of listening, but paying attention. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, number 2. Empathy. Yes, we have talked about empathy a lot. So engage with empathy. So when it comes to engagement, all right, engagement is really important. So we talked about listening, all right, which we're just looking, we're not engaging with content. Talked about posting a little bit and just not adding to the noise. So listen before you post. Now you're going to engage with empathy. So when you engage, when you comment on someone's post or reply to a message in your DMs, do it with empathy. Instead of just dropping a quick, like, great post or congrats, take the time to acknowledge the person's perspective, offer genuine encouragement, ask thoughtful questions. It's really obvious if you are just commenting to show that you've commented or you're just trying to boost it in the feed. Also, there are tools now that can help you with this. AI can write comments for you. So, do you want to use AI to do that for you? Mm, eh, you know my thoughts on this. I love-hate relationship with AI. I think it can be helpful in a lot of ways. I think also that if we are losing touch with our own empathy and relying on AI for empathy, it's not going to come through. AI can't do empathy for you. So just really think about that before you start using a tool or trying to hack it or do a shortcut. Are you engaging with empathy? Okay, this kind of interaction is meaningful and it not only builds stronger connections, but it also shows that you are truly caring about the people in your network. When you post a comment and you reference an interaction you've had with this person before, that is special. That is powerful. And this recently happened to me when I did my first live stream last week. It'd been more than a year since I had live streamed. I shared that piece of content. And there was another person that had went through the LinkedIn Accelerator as in one of my cohorts, and she commented and like, Mindy, this is great. I remember going through your program and we worked on my profile. And guess what? I just recently revamped my profile. And do you want, basically take a look at it. I'm really proud of it. That type of comment was not generated by AI. AI didn't know that she had been through my cohort, at least not yet. Maybe in the future it will know these things. But as of now, it doesn't know that. So the fact that she saw my post, that she resonated with it, shared it with her network, and then she also talked about revamping her profile, that's empathy. That's saying, hey, I see that you are back. I would like to support what you're doing and it's meaningful. So please keep doing it. That was really powerful. And you can't just outsource that. So, really think about how you're engaging on LinkedIn. It's not just about posting and getting the likes and the comments, getting the followers. It's also about giving back and supporting other people's work. Think about it. Okay. All right. Number 3, share stories. Stories. Not just facts. I like facts. All right. I really, really do. So I like facts. I like data. I like numbers. I was trying to think about how much time I spend looking at numbers per day, like from the Apple Watch to my Whoop data to, Apple Health. I love numbers. I love checking my finances and business numbers. All of that is really, really fun for me. All right. Those are all facts. Those are great. But stories impact us at a different level. So don't be afraid to share your stories. All right. So facts and figures, they're important. I love them. Love them. But it's the stories that really connect with people on a deeper level. So one of the mistakes I see a lot of people make on LinkedIn is they do want to show that they're smart and that they do understand all of the numbers, or that they patting themselves on the back for having all this impact and, quoting these big statistics. That's great. Good. But if you're going to use those facts and figures, tie it into a story. We really resonate with stories. And if you want to be a thoughtful leader, it's about knowing your facts. So not skipping over them. You need to know your numbers. You need to know your facts. But it's also wrapping those in stories, because when we do that, it's like the 1-2 punch, right? So whether it's a lesson you've learned, a challenge you've overcome, or a moment that changed your perspective, I love perspective shifts. If you can show me a perspective shift, you thought this and now you think this, it is related. It could be related to a fact, but it's because of an experience that you've had. And that is powerful. So share your experiences with authenticity, because this can inspire others and it does create that lasting impact. I remember stories. I don't always remember the facts, but I remember stories. So being a thoughtful leader isn't just about what you know. That's thought leader, right? Thought leader is kind of what you know. So a thoughtful leader, it's about how you make others feel through your words and your actions. So there you have it. We talked about 3 ways that you can actually start leading with thoughtfulness on LinkedIn. So listen before you post, engage with empathy, and share your stories. And I think this is just such a great topic, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, because I haven't seen people talking about thoughtful leaders on LinkedIn. So I'm sure there are conversations happening, but I'd love to continue that conversation here in the comments as well. So please, drop your thoughts, comments. If you've come across a thoughtful leader and you want to shout them out, tag them below, because I would love to follow them. First of all, I'm looking for others. I have quite a few that I like to follow who I feel fit the thoughtful leader as well. But drop them below, give them a shout out, share how people on LinkedIn are impacting you. And let's all strive to make LinkedIn not just a place for thought leadership, but for thoughtful leadership as well. So what do you think? Again, give it a try. Consider embracing thoughtful leadership on LinkedIn. And if you're already doing this on LinkedIn, let me know in the comments too. Pat yourself on the back. I'm a thoughtful leader, Mindy. So if you're looking for that extra edge to get you started on the right path with your LinkedIn profile, because that really ties into thoughtful leadership, positioning yourself well, making sure all of this empathy is coming across, that you've listened to your audience, then do check out it's a 3-video mini series on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. It'll help you dial in the most important sections of your profile so it does come across as thoughtful and not just, patting yourself on the back because you're so awesome. So if you do want me to send the link directly to you too, just comment below with "I want the training," and I'll be sure to send you the direct link. So if you're not in front of your screen and you're coming back to this later, that's completely fine. I will see you all next week on Mondays with Mindy. Again, feel free to leave any questions or comments below, and my DMs. If you don't want to share it publicly, just shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. I have an open profile so you can message me without being connected. That's totally fine. I love having conversations offline as well. So I will see you all next week. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and bye for now.